Good morning and welcome everyone to another segment of VTF Live. We are very excited as it has been another exciting week for the beginner track interns. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Karthikeyan Ramaswamy. I am the manager of technology and development at Virtually Testing Foundation. And I would also like to introduce Mallory Vega, the director of operations and management at VTF.
Hello, everyone.
All right. Virtually Testing Foundation is a non-profit volunteer-run organization since 2012. We neither sell products, services, or data. Our only goal is to serve the community. Our mission is to offer beginner and advanced internships which will benefit the community. Also, our vision is to invest in any and all resources that will provide quality learning experience to the community. VTF is first and only unique volunteer-run non-profit organization offering hands-on cybersecurity internship and much more. As you can see, we have 30,000 plus members in our organization, which we are very proud of, and we hope you can also be a part of VTF and gain an immense experience with us. Currently, we have open positions for advanced internship, and if you are interested, you can go ahead and apply for it. Or if you know somebody who is interested, you can go ahead and share this amazing opportunity with them. Okay, now let's recap week 1 and week 2. Over to you, Mallory.
Thank you, Karthik. Here at the beginner track interns, week one, they have learned about the MITRE attack, MITRE defend, MITRE navigator, and APA guidelines. The MITRE attack matrix contains a set of techniques used by adversaries to accomplish specific objectives. Those objectives are categorized as tactics in the attack matrix. The objectives are presented linearly from the point of reconnaissance to the final goal of exfiltration or impact. Looking at the broadest version of attacks for enterprise, which includes Windows, Mac OS, Linux, Azure, Office 365, Google Workspace, and many more. These tactics include reconnaissance, resource development, initial access, execution, persistence, privilege escalation, defense evasion, credential access, discovery, and much more. For week two, our beginner interacts have learned about vulnerability management. They have overviewed that vulnerability management is a recurring process of identifying, classifying, prioritizing, mitigating, and remediating vulnerabilities. This will focus on the infrastructure vulnerabilities and the operational vulnerability management process. This process is designed to provide insight into our environments, leverage for vulnerability workflows, promote healthy patch management, among other preventative best practices, as well as remediate risk, and all in the end goal is to better secure the environments. Purpose for the vulnerability management is defined as a consistent process to identify, document, categorize, manage, and remediate all vulnerabilities that impact the in scope of all systems in order to reduce the risk relating to security vulnerabilities that could impact the achievement of the organization's goal. For the business etiquette, our interns have learned about the business of time management. They learned that it is important to have the time management as well as the process of organizing and planning on how to divide their time between projects and tasks. With learning and getting mastering the skills, they will be able to work smarter as well as get things done efficiently, effectively, and productively. Over to you, Karthik.
Thank you, Mallory. Now let's see what interns have learned in week 3. For the cybersecurity hands-on task, interns were introduced to OSINT, If you have heard the name but are wondering what it means, OSINT stands for Open Source Intelligence, which refers to any information that can be legally gathered by public source about an individual or an organization. And how is OSINT done? It's done by gathering publicly available sources of information about a particular target, an attacker, or a friendly penetration tester who can profile a potential victim to better understand its characteristics and to narrow down the search area for possible vulnerabilities without actively engaging with the target. The attacker can use the intelligence produced to build a threat model and develop a plan of attack. Targeted cyber attacks like military attacks begins with reconnaissance. And the first stage of digital reconnaissance is passively acquiring intelligence without alerting the target. Next, the interns were introduced to Shodan, which is the world's first search engine for internet connected devices, for discovering how intelligence can help us make better decisions. Shodan, which stands for Sentient Hyper-Optimized Data Access Network, is a search engine which is designed to map and gather information about internet-connected devices and systems. Shodan is sometimes referred to as a search engine for Internet of Things (IoT). Applications of the software include market research, vulnerability analysis, and penetration testing, as well as hacking. Interns were given tasks to apply what all they had learned in week 3 into the TryHackMe rooms as a hands-on. For the business etiquette task in week 3, the interns learned about how to avoid overcommitting. One of our worst habits is overcommitting ourselves on a regular basis. You know those times when you know you really need to catch up on sleep or take care of other personal responsibilities, but instead you say yes to another project, job, or hangout that could totally wait until the weekend. Fortunately, there are strategies to quit overcommitting oneself, and although it might be difficult to break a habit, it is undoubtedly achievable. There's nothing rude about taking care of ourselves because we need to. And lastly, for week 3 network visibility task, we had asked the interns to post about what they had learned in week 3 and also connect with their peers. Now let's see what interns have learned in week 4. For the cybersecurity hands-on task, interns were introduced to network security. Network security protects your network and data from breaches, intrusion, and other threats. This is a vast, overarching term that describes hardware and software solutions, as well as processes or rules and configurations relating to network use, accessibility, and overall threat protection. Network security involves access control, virus and antivirus software, application security, network analytics, types of network related security like endpoint, web, wireless, firewalls, VPN encryption, and much more. Network security is vital in protecting client data and information, keeping shared data secure, and ensuring reliable access and network performance, as well as protection from cyber threats. Then, interns were introduced to PFSense. So, PFSense is a free customized distribution of free BSD that can turn an old computer into a full featured router and firewall. PFSense is very flexible and can easily be adapted to numerous applications, ranging from a router to a firewall for a large corporate network. PFSense is easy to install and maintain, offering a very useful web-based user interface. PFSense includes many features that are often only found in expensive commercial routers. Next, interns were introduced to Security Onion. So basically, Security Onion is a free and open source Linux distribution for intrusion detection, security monitoring, and log management. It includes CyberChef, Network Miner, and many other security tools. Its easy to use setup wizard allows you to build an army of distributed sensors for your enterprise in minutes. At last, interns learned about SCAPI, which is powerful interactive packet manipulation program. It is able to fold or decode packets of a wide number of protocols, which they send them on the wire, capture them, and match requests and replies and much more. For week 4 business etiquette tasks, the interns learned about Scrum. In short, Scrum is a framework for effective collaborations among teams working on complex products. Scrum is a type of agile technology that consists of meetings, roles, and tools to help teams working on complex projects collaborate and better structure and manage their workload. Although it's most often used by software development teams, Scrum can be beneficial to any team working towards a common goal. And in network visibility task, as I had said before, we had asked the interns to post about what they learn each week and also connect with their turns. Now, we will learn about what currently the interns are learning in week 5. Over to you, Mallory.
Thank you, Karthik. Here at week 5, our interns have learned about endpoint security. Now, what is endpoint security? Endpoint security is the practice of safeguard endpoints from unauthorized access and digital threats that can expose data and compromise the performance of the endpoint device. An endpoint refers to any device that receives a signal. In the context of business PC management, endpoint specifically refers to the devices that workers use every day to be productive, from desktops to laptops to tablets and smartphones. Endpoints can also refer to any Internet of Things, devices including sensors and digital signage. However, this curriculum will only focus primarily on the business PC use cases. A comprehensive endpoint security strategy will include hardware enabled protections and remote management tools to help protect endpoints that connect to the corporate network. Now, why is endpoint security important? Endpoint protection is an essential to take an advantage of to enhance the productivity that endpoint devices offer, especially when connecting to the digital resources outside the corporate network. Endpoint security solutions also help protect against malware and countless digital threats that could lead to loss of productivity, excessive downtime, data breaches, and loss of reputation. We see that endpoint security is becoming even more of a priority as global disruptions require businesses to support a remote workforce on short notice, especially during the pandemic. More workers are using endpoints and personal devices outside the firewall to connect to the corporate network over the cloud in a practice known as bring your own device. Although this practice can be alleviated some of the technology requirements on the business end, it can also increase the threat potential from unsecured consumer devices. A sound endpoint security strategy can help safeguard data, devices, and reputation while allowing businesses to accelerate their productivity. We now have taught that the endpoint security is designed to help protect against malware, cryptojacking, ransomware, privilege escalation, phishing, and zero day attacks, and much more. We're also seeing that the virtualization is a key element to the endpoint security. We see that virtualization is a practice of use of simulated computing environments, complete with their own operating systems, abstracted from the device hardware. Using virtualization, a user can run multiple virtual machines, each with their own OS, on the same device. We see that security experts are looking at virtualization with renewed interest as a way to help secure devices against threats, especially as more workers are using their personal devices for professional use. With virtualization, a user can run one virtual machine for their work related productivity apps and another virtual machine for their personal apps and recreation, all on the same device. The key security benefit with virtualization is that each virtual machine is isolated from other virtual machines, which means that malware cannot spread from one virtual machine to another. This workload isolation helps protect sensitive business information while allowing workers to make full use of their devices in a professional or personal capacity. For business etiquette, our interns are learning to be an effective communicator. In our professional To be a professional effective communicator, it involves learning the skills to exchange information with clarity, empathy, and understanding. In this curriculum this week, they are told to create a YouTube video to describe how to be an effective communicator. This curriculum has been discussed to express benefits and other ways to improve their communication. Effective communication is the process of exchanging ideas, thoughts, opinions, knowledge, and data so that the message is received and understood with clarity and purpose. When we communicate effectively, both the speaker and the audience will be satisfied. Communication occurs in many forms, including verbal, nonverbal, written, visual, and listening. It could also occur in person, on the internet, such as social media and websites, as well as over the phone through apps, calls, and video conferencing, as well as by mail. For communication to be effective, it must be clear, correct, complete, concise, and compassionate. We consider these to be the 5 C's of communication though they may vary and depending on who you are and where you're working at. We are also teaching the benefits of effective communication by showing them that communication effectiveness can be witnessed in the workplace, in educational setting, and in your personal life. Learning how to communicate can be both in the workplace and in the personal life by managing employees and build teams, grow your organization more rapidly and retain employees, as well as benefit from enhanced creativity and innovation. Effective communication can also lead to improved social, emotional, and mental health. Deeper existing in connections with your peers as well as your family and loved ones, and no bonds based and create new bonds based on the trust and transparency through your family, loved ones, and peers. For network visibility, we are teaching our interns to provide feedback on what they have learned each week. And in today's professional services, we see that employees have adopted digital techniques. With visibility levels decreasing across the marketplace, it is becoming more important for firms to maintain a visible online presence. We know that LinkedIn has more than 830 million members worldwide, including more than 250 million on North America. It goes without saying that any professional who wants to develop, monitor, and nurture connections must have a presence on the go to social media networks, such as Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. But it's really about more than just being there. To get the greatest return for our interns' investment in regards to posting in their LinkedIn and social media platforms, there are also certain factors that matter more than others. The ultimate goal, as always, is growth, personally and professionally. Well, that's the time that we have for today. Thank you very much for joining us on this week's session of VTF Live. Please check out the VTF.Academy to follow along with our beginner interns curriculum, as well as check out our website at virtuallytestingfoundation.org for future announcements on the next beginner track internships in 2023. We are very excited for the new curriculum we're developing, and we hope that you can be a part of it next year. Thank you again, and see you all at the next VTF Live. Karthik?
Thank you everyone for joining us this week's live and stay tuned for the next week live. Have a wonderful day ahead. Bye everyone.
Bye bye.